Very interesting signs in the audience as well. Let's get on to the ref. So one of the big topics here between these two teams especially is the difference in early games.
Yeah.
KT has not had very powerful early games, have definitely been a bit slow, and Doctem even was talking about that in his interview as well. And so going up against TES, who is one of our teams that have had the best early games, it's one of the reasons why Kanavi and TES have been so heavily lauded. Really has done a very good job. It has been really well planned as well as executed from them, both here as well as in the LPL.
And I think it's important that we'd like to crack jokes a lot when it comes to this team, but don't let the memes and the history distract you from how lethal this team really is, right? Good reason that they were able to make it here. Good reason why they were in the finals of the LPL. And Cream, of course, on this utility champion. Annie falling down in Prio, obviously nerfed a ton over the last few patches, adjusted here and there, but still can be that lethal engage option as Doctem and Peter zoned away from the wave early on, but Foss Bomb does mean that Doctem's at least able to get some of this CS.
Yeah, early brush ward for TES though, gonna help them out a decent amount here with the range versus melee support matchup, trying to work around the outside.
The slow race for level 2, the trades of autos.
TES have to push, so you have to be cognizant of the level 2 coming in. They are, just back off. Nobody in any danger range just quite yet. And it is interesting with Kanavi pathing up towards top side, not down towards the bottom side. Jackie Love going to do the tri-brush ward first because of that, but Wukong, of course, is one of the slippery junglers that can wrap around, and going towards a Nautilus lane always does have the possibilities of Cuz making an early visit, and Nautilus having some good setup for him in lane to try and burn summoner spells.
Definitely a good spot to be in. Of course, double range makes it hard, as you highlighted, for KT to get the push, but a gank from Wukong, a gank from Cuz can change that very quickly. Jungle, we're looking at it a lot, right? Cuz and Kanavi. Cuz in that series, in the crucial series versus Gen.G, this man was a demon, completely outplayed Canyon.
Truly.
KT fans want to see that same form, but to be honest with you, it hasn't been there. Whereas for Kanavi, still looking like a beast, still looking terrifying. Look at that K plus A at 14. Cuz is a little quiet.
We did talk about the difference in the early games. Yeah, 0 kills and assists pre-14 minutes there. Meanwhile, Kanavi, an absolute terror in the early game and all game, actually. And Kanavi in the regular season of LPL, you know, getting that first team all-pro really has been quite the engine for this team. A lot of carry champions for him, and he's the one piloting the Jarvan. So, Daniel, do you believe in Kanavi to get the first win on the board for a Jarvan?
I mean, yeah, I do, because it looks like he's going to get the first kill in this game! Caster blessed, caster cursed, I'm not sure what to say, but a clean play, good setup from Cream. Kanavi, very easy for him to snag that one.
I'm telling you, a lot of the Jarvans have been user error. You go to the Annie lane, you get the stun, easy follow-up.
You flag, and then you drag. I got it. Yes, user error, of course.
And first you stun, you know.
That's a good way to start.
It is worth mentioning, Cream invested the flash to do that. You know, it's a wise investment, but you're always then looking, can that be punished? Annie is a champion in mid lane that I've seen a lot of play, and a lot of people do like to go then attack the Annie and try and make you pay for that a little bit, because your shield is good. You know, the shield move speed is nice, but it is not going to get you out of a lot of other situations, and having no flash now, Cream's going to have to be a little bit more worried. That's why Peter comes through, clears out some of that vision around mid lane, and they'll see what they can do about it.
And I think the frustrating thing about this for both BDD and Cuz is the gank is so fast, it really costs Kanavi almost none of his time. So he's still on par in jungle clear. There's not really a cross-map play or anything else to get back. It is just that gold deficit in the mid lane for BDD. And yeah, that window of opportunity you talked about to capitalize on a flash miss thing, but Cuz hasn't found an avenue to go through mid yet, is now moving down to the rafters, but Kanavi might just spot him.
And Kanavi did walk over that ward in the banana brush, so you see BDD, good positioning. You know, he positions to the upward side of the lane.
Cream again, no flash. Kanavi happy to just zone away. I was not sure how committed he was going to be to auto-attacking the Aurora to death, but zoning BDD out, making Cream's life a little bit easier.
Yeah, BDD loses experience on some of those minions that are dying up by the tower. So even though you're not, actually taking him down or burning his flash, it still is a gank worth going for. Pushes him out, a little bit of damage on the Aurora, make him miss a couple of minions.
And he doesn't hit the bear, crucially. BDD able to move away without even burning the flash.
Or did he just not have the stun? I think the damage goes through.
Damage went in. You're probably right, given that he does have 3 stacks ready to go. Either way, you get what you want out of the Tibbers again. If you, for some reason, haven't seen Annie, which would be crazy, she uses the bear, she pushes the wave. That's as simple as it gets. As Peter, the heal now coming up from Jackie Levin Hong. Looking for a chase down, looking to get control of the lane. Full mid-prio coming in for Cream, courtesy of the summon Tibbers, means that this Drake should be easy pickings for Kanavi.
Yeah, TES, another good early game for them. Kanavi grabbing Scuttle Crab first. It looks like BDD with his reset. I honestly would bot side push too. Maybe they, okay, they're just going to look for level 6 on Kanavi first maybe.
And this is an incredibly comfortable early game for TES. We did expect them to be a little bit more powerful in terms of, on paper what they'd be able to bring, but setting themselves up for success with this Jarvan pick, finding those early ganks, Cuz might be able to counter jungle a bit here on the top side, but of course difference in timer between the Grubs and the Dragon these days means there's not an easy objective for him to take back in response.
Yeah. Krugs for Dragon is a very good trade for TES, and 369's full HP, so they're not even worried about any sort of topside, dive or play up there in response from KT. Of course, Wukong also, you really want that level 6, so Kuz trying to squeeze out as much experience as he possibly can. Does have his flash ready. Maybe he will be able to get in there once he has level 6 and can go for a flash play, but Annie's cooldown here for flash for Cream. Only has, about 80 seconds left on it. So still a little bit of time where he has to be fairly safe, but not too worried.
Definitely looking comfortable. No action after the initial kill. Drake really the only big tangible advantage that TES have held onto. Outside of Prio on the bottom side, another use of the summon Tibbers, this time not connecting. Again, BDD spacing really well in this matchup. Input buffering on the weirding to jump backwards to make sure that the follow-up damage from Annie isn't there. And while the pressure is going in favor of TES, BDD seems relatively unfazed in the 1v1.
Yeah, support roam timers are resulting in a little bit of movement over here towards the Void Grubs as well. Looks like Cuz wants to grab one before Kanavi arrives, and he does have Smite, so Smite bite.
Going in, Cuz grabbing the initial. Now immediately going to clone out, but Cream is on the way, just forced to flash. Fear of the point-and-click CC coming in from Cream. Stopping Cuz from getting anything else. Really wanted that cheeky steal, but it just does not work out.
Yeah, okay, and that's going to be a full rotation. So look at the cost for this play. TS, full 5 members at Grubs means that Corky down here is actually getting the minions all the way up to the tower. So turret plate for Dokdam, and some minions going down to the tower as well is your little bit of payment. Still good for TS though, in my opinion. Grabbing up those Grubs.
Get the flash. Give up a single Grub for it, but still hold on to the true Grub buff. Still feeling comfortable as the lane swap has come out. Following that, getting pressure on the top side. Perfect. Forced to use the equalizer to clear the wave. 369, bit of a struggle to try and approach this tower. Will immediately ult onto Dokdam, though. Good damage. Just wants to make sure that he has access to the wave.
A lot of deep vision here for KT as well behind this side, so they might actually go for a repeat play on 369. I mean, Kanavi's on the top side, so Cuz kind of has a free route to go pressure 369, who, even without your ultimate, he still has flash and is Mbessa very mobile, and they're making the good call here, just communicating, I know, I'm on weak side, I'll back up. So 369 was able to get some experience from those previous minions that were dying, but not the rest of them, and the race for the tower
has begun. Grub advantage, but of course the mid lane is the immediate 1v1. Across the Veil used just for a bit of extra damage onto Cream. Cream forced out of lane, but top lane left isolated. Perfect doesn't even bother to approach, so it's tower for tower trade, but first tower does go to the side of KT.
All right, rushing down the first turret for them towards Feats of Warfare. Continuing on the push. Seems like it's just going to be caught by each of the solo laners here. 369 gets this one. And BDD should be able to catch the opposite side for KT.
One of the first games we've had in the tournament, I feel like, where teams are so content to just handshake these objectives, trading sides of the map.
Yeah, right out of Champ Select, we're like, all right, it's coming down to these big team fights.
It's going to be a fist fight.
Yeah, we've got huge team fights ahead of us, though, Dracos, because both of them have so many weapons. And I want to see if
there's an imposter in the mid lane. That was not a very effective imposter.
Good awareness here from Peter and Doc Dem. Able to avoid. Now, no Nico ultimate. Does make it less explosive, these team fights that I'm trying to hype up.
Yeah.
Like, all right, there's no Annie ultimates and there's no Nico ultimate. Does make it a little bit more difficult to pull that off. But as of now, yeah, they have, for the most part, been content to trade.
It's interesting, of course, for the side of TES, Kanavi getting that initial kill means he's ahead in terms of overall gold. Does have the Sunder Sky, right? We know how powerful he can be in those skirmishes. No one else really with a major completed item quite yet, although we are getting very close. Cream and BDD continue to match up on the top side of the map, but this can be tricky for Cream. He does have to be careful not to overstep. Aurora, a lot more mobility, a lot more catch tools with the support of a jungler to chase down, but Kanavi is here to shadow, here to cover. Control ward gives them perfect information as to where Cuz is, and Kanavi wants to kick this one off. Cream looking for the follow-up. BDD ready to go. Weirding doesn't connect. Cream trying to find the angle to get the CC down. Trapped in. Dashed out from Cuz, but just a dash to his death. Cream with a nice kill.
This is the featured matchup for a reason. Kanavi finds Cuz. Kanavi takes him down with the help of Cream. Another flash invested, so you can try and make the same thing where like, oh, well, maybe you can punish Annie later. But TES here, very smooth operators in the early game. I mean, it just feels like they have been so controlled and just executed so effortlessly in all of their games here. This is going to turn into the Dragon. They should be able to burn it down.
Second Drake, perfect coming in. KT, hard to play for exit kills. They just don't have enough members in the area. Of course, Cuz just now respawning, which was what made taking that Drake such an easy decision. And I will say, credits to DS. They open with the Nico. They get lane prio, even in a Kaisa versus Corki matchup, which can often be tricky. And now we're at a point in the game where Jackie Love got his own skin, got one item. You're feeling pretty good about having this Kaisa on the lineup with so many effective dive threats.
Yeah, let's see if they can defend the blue buff here, because that one's getting taken away pretty quick. Looks like Kanavi, as long as you can get your own Gromp, not the end of the world here.
This is, of course, KT's response to the Drake, knowing that TES likely have to reset. 369 really starting to hurt. Does now have that first completed item. Awkward bit of timing here for Perfect. Hasn't been able to back to get that item himself.
And everybody really matched there, so both supports were kind of hanging around, shadowing the plays, waiting to see if anyone was going to overcommit. But again, in the opening game of this series, nobody taking too big of a risk yet.
You can see there, Jackie Love, without Hung in the area, does have to back off a bit. Cream still confident to step forward. We got first item completions. We're going to have to wait a while for the next objective, unfortunately, which I think will be the big catalyst for potentially our first team fight of the game.
And for the KT enjoyers, you know, they really have been looking towards mid-game and late-game team fights, you know, as their way into, whoa.
Bit of a catch. Blast cone means not much is going to happen.
But yeah, they really have been looking a lot towards mid and late-game team fights, and so now moving in vision on the other side as well.
Cuz finds Kanavi, the burst damage from Doc down. Doing a lot of work there with that Triforce, but Kanavi is able to walk away.
Yeah, that is double Triforce burst action right there. That could get spicy very quickly, so Kanavi has to flash. Forced away instantly here, but nobody goes down. So we continue fairly close pace, and the decider are going to be these team fights. TES stacking up the Dragons. Wait.
Jackie Love on the bottom side, BDD trying to get away, but he's already marked up. Nice initial escape across the veil, comes out. Jackie Love getting lower. Oh, but the Nico's on the way, trying to catch all possible options. Nice footwork from BDD. One more second, does he have enough to get out? No, he does not. 369 brings down the hammer and takes him out on the top side. It's a split play. Kanavi, they know he has no flash, he's easy pickings, but Cream wants to try and turn it back. He summons the bear, but the redemption is there, and there's nothing left for TES.
Nice counterplay from KT. Both teams making plays opposite side of the map. The TES play is going to result in bot tower, but KT are answering, pushing mid. They'll get their tower answer there, and they got their kill answer onto Kanavi, capitalizing on the previously blown flash. Going blow for blow here, Daniel.
And super important that they're able to do so, right? Because it felt like they were just starting to fall behind, but this is giving them that bit of momentum, giving them that control on the top side, now leading to the Herald. Clone there for Hunk to spot out Cream, but we know he doesn't have access to the bear or the flash, so KT feel pretty comfortable to just take this. They lose mid in the process as well. So KT really swinging things back into their favor. Navi not even going to go for it. I think a good shout overall as Cuz is going to grab the Herald. Potential for KT now to leverage that to get some more prio elsewhere on the map.
All right, still kind of trading sides here as far as information goes. And the long lane on the bottom side, Hung is just going to go be the battle ward, the person ward, to get vision for 369. Here's a look at how they softened up BDD, and you already see on the minimap, you notice Jackie coming down. You also notice Hong coming down. And so even though they don't get Jackie here, BDD did force his barrier. BDD then flashed though, and dodge as many times as you want, but you're not gonna escape Ambessa.
Yeah, you got 4 seconds till those cooldowns are back up, and then you're cooked. And Kanavi cooked as well, right? Know that he has no flash, trying to get some vision back, seeing the play on bottom side, but it does cost him his life.
Yeah, and so these flashes that have been invested from both sides for each team, those are gonna be an area to look out for the big team fight that actually does happen, but Perfect's gonna be without his. Same thing, obviously, for Kanavi and BDD. So neither solo laner or KT gonna have that extra option. It's gonna be a little bit dangerous, honestly, in their approach. For TES, which, by the way, I think the overlay is a little bugged, doesn't show the other dragon. They have 2 dragons. They have Cloud as well.
Cloud and the Chemtech.
So for TES, of course, they're gonna have the extra emphasis on coming down here to stack up. But KT, good early positioning. They get the vision set up preemptively.
TPing mid to make sure that they get this push out first. Showing force here. Of course, BDD not in the area. Doesn't have the flash, as you highlighted before, but does have access to the teleport. KT very grouped up, though. They don't have any way to flank at the moment. Could see a TP coming in from bottom wave. Instead, it's just a full 5-man stack in the face of TES. Eyes on Kanavi and Cream. That's the big AoE damage. The flash bill for Hung as well.
Battle Herald summoned in the middle.
Ready to ride away in a blaze of glory. Hung gonna get things kicked off. Only managed to get Cuz, and he just turns right back and starts free firing. Kanavi cut out the Sundered Sky, doesn't do a damn thing. TES, though, fighting back. Cream burned down on the side by Perfect. TES holding the line. It's an absolute bloodbath around the Drake, and it looks like they might be able to grab it in the end. They've taken the Hextech Drake. Docdam running. BDD in the back lines. Jackie Love taken down. It's a double kill for Perfect.
And KT destroy them in the team fight. TS, they do get the dragon. They get the objective, but KT, clearly, they're playing for the team fight here. They summon the Herald first. Look at this engage and how it quickly gets stuffed. Hung goes in. He flashes for it. Immediately annihilated on the Rumble ultimate, and Cuz just bursts him down. Then you look at the other side where they did get the anti-engage, but they didn't critically finish off BDD, and then Perfect just chases down the anti, so KT, full numbers advantage. Even though Jackie and 369 are able to finish off the dragon with no smite, they lose most of their members in the process.
And credit to KT playing with slivers of life for the back health of that team fight. But even without the Caitlyn and the Orianna, they're showing us a lot of what we saw in their first 2 matches. Absorbing the initial gauge, splitting up this big wombo composition, and then playing cleanup in the fight. The way Cuz isolated Kanavi so he could not do anything was fantastic.
Nice stuff there from KT in the team fighting. See if they can continue to progress this, because it does make it a little dangerous. You always get nervous when enemy team is on soul point. You have to worry about every 5-minute timer. Every 5-minute timer is going to cause a spike of excitement.
Yeah, and we do have a situation here where while both teams have excellent team fighting tools, I'm looking at Jackie Love, I'm looking at that ultimate, the potential to collapse on a flank, for one member of KT to slip up and go down around one of those timings. Make contesting this objective impossible. You highlighted it. 3 minutes until the soul on the line, but also 50 seconds till Otacon on the top side. Cream already trying to set up. KT knowing they don't have a huge window to reset, but will need to be in the area.
Or if Cuz just steals one. Cuz is good at stealing objectives, and he's got a Trinity Force Q on Wukong that is a decent amount of burst damage. So if Cuz could just steal one dragon on one timer.
We were really excited about the Jarvan. We said, is Jarvan going to be good? He immediately got a kill. But Cuz is making an argument that I think Wukong probably should still be above in the tier.
Wukong is very, very good, especially in the team fights. But yeah, so got to worry about stealing objectives. Got to worry about setting up for them preemptively as well. And right now, KT getting a lot of topside vision for the Otacon arrival.
And while you can see 369 is uncontested in his bot side push, someone will eventually have to respond to that. Mid prio going
they're going to pull it immediately.
KT just going to try to pull the trigger, make the fast play happen. Kanavi moving in, control ward's matched. They don't have perfect information here, but they generally know that it's going on. Vision coming in from the standard probably gives them all that they need to know. Hung here as well. Recall coming in from 369, but if he TPs in, is it going to be fast enough? 6K getting lower. KT backing off, going to play to punish the TP instead. Looking to delete 369, unstoppable for a brief moment, dashing out to safety now. Ulti coming in from Cream. It's a bloodbath as Otacon remains in the mix, but it's a beautiful equalizer across the lineup. Hung tries to fire back. Across the veil comes BDD, bouncing to the other side, looking to finish up TES. Jackie love the barrier, keeping him standing. Peter goes a little bit too far, and 369 is happy to punish.
Oh, BDD!
Dash back, weird and keeping him safe. Kanavi ready to cover. KT, are they confident enough to stay on the objective? Yes, they are. They're unconcerned. So many of the ultis missing. They know they can finish this one up, but it's the steal you mentioned, Kobe. Kanavi the hope. Jackie Love here as well. Docdam zoning him out. 5K getting lower, but 369 now has access. Their resistance is getting shredded by the Otacon, but Docdam full health. Zoning with the rockets, the Foss bombs. KT will take the Otacon.
Kanavi's too low. Docdam did a great job bursting him and pushing him out there so they can secure this Otacon without the threat of the smite fight. KT come up big in another team fight, and they're waiting for the arrival of 369. 369, though, really good job. He was able to immediately go for the engage himself, use his ultimate, go unstoppable, but the counter is so big. Cream gets annihilated by Perfect, and they're able to chase through on the outside.
And Cream, of course, tries to catch Cuz, hits the Wukong clone, isn't able to have that effect. We know how it should work. Jarvan puts him in a circle, everyone pushes their buttons, but KT are splitting up the fight so nicely, collapsing on 369, but not staying clumped to leave themselves vulnerable to this TES composition. Gold, super close. Otacon to KT, but it is still sole point for the side of TES, and they're the ones with members in the river. They're the ones with setup on the bottom side.
Yep, TES have not been able to catch their targets on the engage quite as they planned. Now, though, KT returning yet again to the Dragon area 20 seconds before the arrival of this particular Dragon Soul opportunity.
KT very grouped. Cream, no flash, but it's coming up now. 369 doesn't have access to his. Jackie Love will have the summoner available. Docdam's going to need to wait a bit longer, but BDD. Perfect, not going to have access to a crucial summoner spell, but maybe Cuz with flash is enough.
I will note, too, 369 did a good job pushing bottom lane, so they've got the full opportunity to wrap around here. BDD's watching the flank, though.
Crucial not to let 369 get onto that back line. Peter going in with the Hex Flash, immediate follow-up. He just gets burned to death by the Equalizer. Hung with the counter engage, but again, the follow-up damage is not there. TES split apart and divided. They fall at the soul. The perfect secure coming in from Cuz just in time. Jackie Love running, flashing, will barely survive, but the soul will not go to TES.
Yeah, soul denied. KT, can they chase anything else down? Doesn't.
Catch out. The public execution, but for who? 369 turning back now. Cuz burned down. BDD might be in trouble. Jackie Love still sticking around, but Docdam happy to just jump in, riding the Corgi off into the night. Jackie Love wants to turn it with the barrier, but it's just not happening. Cream trying to prep the stun. It's ready to go, but he's just waddling out.
Yeah, BDD's got this.
Left. Slow down. The big one. The triple for Docdam. KT coming alive in the late game.
Docdam with the big damn here coming through. Corgi is pumping. All right, let's take a look at this one. Once again, you mentioned it. Peter goes in, and look at that. They delete the Jarvan. Perfect has had really good Rumble ults, by the way. I mean, you talked about earlier, Perfect sometimes gets some flack, but man, he has had some really good Rumble ultimates for their team fights, and they annihilate. So Jackie Love does get the kill on the outside, and it's just 2 for 2 right now. So this re-engage, the choice of TES and 369 to go in onto Cuz, flash from Cream to make sure they can get the kill, but that was an offensive flash, and then 369 also ends up flashing. So they invested 2 to get that. Docdam's like, okay, I'm gonna finish this one. And as a result, in all 3 of their deaths, all of this extra gold into the KT carries, with the big one coming through from Docdam. And KT, they have just flipped that mid-game switch, team fight after team fight after team fight, and now they're looking unstoppable.
And again, they just play so well around these big ultimates, these big cooldowns, forcing the engage, trying to take Kanavi out of the equation as quickly as they can, not giving Cream an angle to hit that multi-man Tibbers that will always be a threat to just turn the game on its head. And the person suffering the most from this is Jackie Love. He's never had a moment where he can ult in like a hero, clean up these fights, lay down the Acathian Rain. It just isn't happening because there's never a clear moment for him to go in. And in the meantime, Docdam, as you said, pumping. Baron on the line now. Big moment of contention. Kanavi Is it going to be an angle for a steal? Do TES even feel confident in that full-on 5v5? Because even though the gold has been close for the entirety of the mid-game, they've never had the angle in these fights.
Truly, KT. All right, the setup again, good from KT. They black out the vision. They try and punish Kanavi, a little chunk, but he gets out this time.
Zoss down. Could matter a lot if Jackie Love is able to find access to the backline, but only on 2.5 items to the 3 of Doc Dam, so it won't be the end of the world. BDD, presumably at some point will finish a full second item. Maybe hasn't had a chance to back quite yet. His Cream throws down the bear, but it's not doing a whole hell of a lot. Cuz happy to essentially just grab a solo kill. Perfect. And Doc Dam there to spectate.
Nice job. Perfect soaking the cooldowns. And he uses everything, and that opens up a nice, easy dive for Cuz, knowing there is no more threat. And so he goes to collect, and KT, now they can really open up the actual gold lead, because they had won fight after fight after fight, but those fights were very necessary, Dracos, because they have been down 3 dragons the majority of the game. Now they've got the one for themselves, so they're only -2 on them, but they have to keep winning dragon fights. They have to keep on winning and trying to actually open up the gold lead for themselves.
Definitely. You cannot afford to let the soul get away from you. It would be terrifying to deal with. 369, the sole member of this TES lineup, did grab that kill onto Cuz in the previous exchange around the bottom side, so holds on to a gold lead of his own. Maybe he's going to be able to find that backline access, but it is just so hard when KT have been the ones with better setup, ones to pull the trigger first very often, or absorb some of these fumble engage from TES. Still time, though. We talked about it, right? All it takes is one big anti-stun, one mysterious minion. That was not it. That is the second one that's gone completely awry. KT happy to turn it back. Peter finding the multi-man knockup. BDD to finish that initial kill off. Now starting the chase. Excellent equalizer from Perfect. Living up to his namesake as TES are sent packing in the mid lane.
Doc Dam has been so good. You are not catching him sleeping. He is locked in. Come for me again with these Nico ults, my friend. You're not going to catch me.
But this speaks to the desperation of TES. That's the second time they've tried that play. He's gotten away both times. It's dangerous to look at a play like that and say, this time it will be different. KT, eyes locked on this Baron, however, no one waiting over the wall to try and zone Kanavi quite yet, but BDD inbound. Peter chasing it. Doc Dam's out for blood. Cream waiting to fire back with Annie. Cuz is the only one left in the pit. It's 369 in the back line. He's the strong member of the team trying to finish off Peter. Jackie Love finding the angle into Doc Dam. That's going to be big. The plasma stacks finally popping. BDD, though, chasing him down. Going to finish that one off. It's a double kill for Cuz. Hung the last man left standing, and he's going to be quick to fall. KT again taking the fight.
Cuz is even going to kill the ward while they're finishing off the enemy support there. This should be KT denying another soul, grabbing another dragon. Team fight after team fight after team fight, they come out ahead. This time, it is 369 and Jackie Love actually assassinating the Corki, but everybody else had already taken so much damage that then they were deep in enemy lines, and they go down as well. So KT, another victorious team fight. Here's the opener where they burst down Jackie. It's BDD around over this control ward. Huge burst onto Jackie. So then by the time that 369 goes in and ults on him, Jackie goes in to answer as well, and he can actually finish off the Corki, but he's already chunked down to half health, and they already killed the front line. The rest of KT are able to finish the job.
Yeah. And you can see, again, the slight difference in the compositions. They're all happy to throw down ultimates, to play these fights based around their ultimates. But in the extended fights, the Rumble, the Aurora, the Wukong are so much more powerful, whereas this Annie and Jarvan really is that shotgun. The Nico alongside it, if you hit those multi-man ultimates together, you can see the path for TES to win a fight, but it just has not been happening. So another 4 minutes where KT don't have to be concerned about that soul, slowly getting closer to it themselves, and a pretty nice position for them around Baron as soon as they're able to push out these lanes.
So I still think Jarvan is a fine champion. You know, kit's good, good engage, lots of early game options, but maybe he's cursed.
I like that. It feels appropriate.
I'm willing to entertain curses.
There's a lot of sports superstition surrounding this particular matchup, so it feels like an appropriate place to have that discussion.
Because it's looking like he's headed towards 0-9 at the tournament.
If Kanavi cannot win with Jarvan, surely no one should be playing Jarvan. That would be my opinion.
Anyway, we'll revisit this later.
We could be wrong.
This is just, broaching the topic here of possible superstition and curses.
It's an intervention for the meta. You know, there's never really a right time. Sometimes you just got to have the hard conversation, because Nice backstep coming in. Hung going to be initially caught out. 369 retreating. Redemption coming down from the sky, and Cuz still happy to keep chasing forward. TES zoned away from the pit, but here comes BDD as well. Cream instant flash out. Kanavi going to be caught up by the ultimate coming in from Nautilus, and down he goes. BDD on a rampage.
This team fight is just seamless from KT. Again, another really good Rumble ultimate here from Perfect. Right when Cuz goes in on the Wukong, they delete their target just like that. It's 5v3 for KT. They can take Baron and they can defend mid.
Really comfortable in this game. 369 trying to cut the wave, and they actually want to get this fight kicked off. Cream coming in very slowly. Doesn't have access to the flash, but 369.
369, kind of a one-man army right there. Him and Jackie Love now can move over towards Baron. Can they actually contest, though?
It's going to be tough. They have to expose themselves to the flank. 2 angles of attack potentially coming in for KT. Hung waiting over the wall. Access
Is this
to
it?
the flash. The proto belt. Nico ready to go, maybe to kick the fight off. Cream taken out in the blink of an eye, though. Oh, my God. 369, the last man left standing. Another double kill for Doc Damon. Pack it up, boys. KT not messing around.
Yeah, they get their Baron and some extra kills on top of it, Dracos. Now can they chase down a couple more? Hung is going to be able to snare, is going to be able to walk away this time around. But now it's KT wearing purple with a comfortable gold lead.
This is going to be a wild Red Bull Baron power play. It's going to transition beautifully into the next Drake. Soul point for the side of KT. TES again can play for that miracle steal, but I feel like we've been saying play for the steal for the last.
Yeah, I see Laura over there. She's got a really
10
big
minutes.
smile. I don't know. She's like kind of jumping up and down. Oh, calm down over there.
She's getting it. What we talked? Put some money in the jar,
Calm
Lord.
down
We talked
over
about
there.
this.
All right, well, let's see them moving up through the jungle. KT take away red side jungle with the Baron buff, easily take down this tower.
Okay, Kobe, we got a theory craft. If TES are going to make the comeback, is it just a steal? How can they do this? Because KT have been so oppressive, they've been better in the fights, and now they are just so far ahead.
Yeah, if you haven't won the last 5 team fights, then it becomes progressively worse each time because the other team is getting richer and richer and richer. And the other team has 2 Guardian Angels and 2 Zonias. And they have a Mikhails.
Yep. And a Redemption, which Hung obviously does not have.
All right,
Oh, that's the ulti. Initial burst damage coming out. Hung looking for the re-engage. BDD able to make it over the wall using the power of the ultimate. Kanavi living for an extra second, but it's not quite enough. Cuz now unstoppable, going right over the wall. It's the 3-man. And we said it, Cuz needed to step up, and he absolutely has in this game 1. Dominant performance on this Wukong. They're not going to wait for Soul. They don't even need it. KT, when you win all the team fights, you win the game. TES sent packing in this series.
honestly, great performance from every KT member. Great coordination.
Fantastic stuff there. First blood in the series. TES, the dominant early game we thought we would see. It was a single kill mid lane. It was a bit of lane prio, but otherwise KT held on and came back in those mid to late game fights. Impressive stuff.
Okay, Desk, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling hyped right now. I'm for the love of
Fight scenarios, but late game isn't a concern right now. We're getting ready for an early game with Kanavi Zed in it. You talked about the clear speed. Gonna have to keep our eyes on these lanes as well. We're set up for a much more volatile early game as Cuz and Kanavi already trading blows.
You know one of the coolest things about doing the tournament in China is the gyos. Like, I love this. It makes me wish we did this at LCS. Like, it is powerful.
Also, you can hear the passion. We're right next to the fans right now. You can hear the passion in the voice. There's a guy next to us shouting his lungs out.
Yeah,
no regard. If he has to speak tomorrow, he's doomed.
I can kind of feel it too, because our thing shakes a little bit. We get the physical sensation. Okay, so let's take a look. Is it going to be top-down clears? That's kind of what I would expect. The top lane match is Cassante Renekton, so I don't really care about that. So both junglers, let's look at clearing down towards the bottom lanes, boys.
Poor top laners. Bot lane will be interesting, of course, as well. The Rakan does give you with the Gleaming Quill of some tools to survive the poke of the Ezreal, and we know kind of how weak the Alistar level 1 is, so we'll keep track of that. But here's the fabled Zed clear. This isn't the super fast part, although this is also pretty fast.
Yeah, it is. It's super fast from second one.
Yeah.
His passive is insane. And we'll see if he does do the full clear into recall for early base and then get back out to fight towards Scuttle or not. Regardless, it is going to be TES here with the onus on them. Like they really do need to have a much different look to this game. I mean, Hung, once again, Hung is on a squishy engage support. And we saw him multiple times. You know, he would go, whether it was disguising himself as a minion and then going for the Corki and not being able to get Doctum, or whether it was him, you know, in the team fight going straight, straight for the front line and then just getting immediately blown up and deleted. They were, for the majority, unsuccessful. So he's going to have a completely different game here on Rakan, who is way quicker, but is kind of similar in the fact that you can get blown up too. So if you do mess up your engage, you'll get punished quickly. So, all right, well, we are timing our Zed clear here. Dracos, 252.
252.
That's pretty good. And does go for the instant recall for the purchase. Okay.
All right, let's check Cuz. He's very far away.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fair, bro.
If Trundle could start with Tiamat, I think it might be close, but he just can't.
Trundle doesn't need any more help, all right? This champ is pretty good.
Okay, well, if Volibear was in the game, you'd be singing a different song, I'm sure. Suddenly Trundle's the problem.
Okay, so here it is. Now is where the Zed comes back with the double longsword we're talking about, and you want to go to the crab of the side that your opponent is actually going to, because with your double longswords, you want to fight him, but Cuz knows. He's like, all right, yeah, Kanavi's definitely going to be coming for me. I am not going to give him the fight. Yeah. And so he leaves the side. But wait a second. Kanavi's staying so long. Do they want to punish this push on BDD? BDD is 50%.
Flash forward. Rude, it's only going to be the slow, but Kanavi immediately goes in. One more auto content for the week. He does not quite get the damage. BDD still living. Cream in trouble. Hung over the wall. Hits him with the feather.
They get it. Kanavi flashes the JDG. Are they gonna? They're fine. I think they're still fine, right? Yeah. Okay. They walk out, even though look at the river, because there is a roam up from Alistar. They're fine. All right. Yeah. They go for the dive. They didn't even go for the scuttle crab here. I love it. They chunk him out. Cream flashes in, and even just the slow is enough. But they really did need the roam from Rakan. If Hung is not on the way to finish that, then they might have had to stick around long enough for Cuz to counter. But regardless, it ends up being successful with the full roam from Rakan coming over as well. Flashes blown from both sides in jungle and mid.
And that flash is going to be crucial as we go later in, right? That setup for Cream, easier to pull off now that BDD doesn't have access, and really clutch timing for BDD. Instantaneous reaction. Any later and he would have gotten rooted. Would have been easy pickings for Kanavi.
And honestly, it was good movement from BDD to just last that long. Unfortunately for BDD, 3 members of TES are enough to take him down.
It's that third member. That's Slippery Rakan, who shows up and just autos you. So all in all, still positive for TES. Definitely the worst version of the positive outcome, as the gold does go to Hung, but maybe it does mean an earlier redemption, which can be crucial in those early fights.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, too, like with both of them blowing flashes, I mean, it means these wards are critical, the wards that are going to continue to track jungle, but mid lane will continue to be volatile. And I do like that. I want to see more fights around Rise Cassio. These junglers are over vision.
He backwards from Doctam. Now, of course, you've got Kanavi. There's so much vision it's important to highlight on the bottom side here from KT. They do not want to give Kanavi any angle into attacking these lanes. He brings the damage. The rest of the team bringing that simple setup. Jack and Hung poking their heads up into the river. No one taking an early Drake this time around. And TES, again, in control in the earlier stages. But Kanavi on the Zed, a much more potent threat as we move further into the game.
All right, so they know there's a lot of vision on bottom side of mid lane, but on reset, it is going to be a top side Scuttle Crab, and then they can try and attack from the other side. Rise does have quite good setup, and Kanavi is quite close to level 6. If he can, oh, nice. Cream turns his back, and should be fine there. Okay. Dragon will get burned down, but Kanavi is going to go Zed to the top side for that top side Scuttle Crab and get his level 6. KT and Cuz pretty happy to stack dragons, though, with this comp.
Yeah, definitely a lot of potent scaling as we get later in the game. Won't be an Infernal Soul, but they will get that first Infernal Drake. Meanwhile, on the top side, Perfect and 369 continue to trade blows. Level 6 is where we might start to see some action here on the top side, but as you so eloquently put it, Kobe, it's Cassante versus Renekton, so.
Yeah. Don't care too much about it, but you're right that with their ultis, there's a lot more potential for kills. So Renekton ultimate does actually so much damage ever since they buffed it. If you're allowed to stay close to someone and keep them within range, and Cassante, yeah, enough has been said about that ultimate, so you know the possibilities there.
Navi poking his head and seeing if he can. Again, he's ahead in XP, so it's
Level
easy for him to
6.
step up here. Hung there as well to cover. Level advantage massive. Kanavi with access steal, but Doctem waiting over the wall. Kanavi, shadow forward, knock up connecting onto Peter. Exhaust already down with the death mark now going in. Peter might just be in trouble with the CC's flawless. Kanavi immediately forced to step back, manages to get the red, healing up just a bit, but BDD now on the way. Miasma over the wall, it means Hung is gonna get taken down. Red buff for support, KT covering very well.
I feel like every assassin player is always like, man, they had an exhaust. He gets exhausted, Kanavi gets exhausted. It is rough, and 1 for 1. In the very end.
A little bit of damage goes over, tries to get tricky with it, Peter!
And now he's actually dead!
Now Jackie Love's chasing down Doctem. Doctem only level 5, Jackie Love level 6. Surely this is another kill to follow. This game is an absolute bloodbath. Barrier there for Doctem. Tries to land one more Q, doesn't get it. Creed comes over the wall. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. So in the end, wait, we're not even done yet. Peter here's got the wave pushing towards him. Double buffs on the Alistar.
2 members coming up. You can take a look at the mini map. Hex Flash faking out just in case.
Okay.
Trying to hold the wave just to make sure the dive can't come through, but very likely in trouble. Using Hung as a taxi. Pulverize looking for the interrupt. BDD now here, and once again, Hung might be the sacrificial bird, but is able to use Jackie Love to escape. Now you can take a... Never mind, the play is still going.
Heck yeah, we've got
Heal.
a pillar.
He's done Hung. He is the one who's able to backstep. Jackie Love, of course, still has access to the ultimate. Now you may explain what we just saw.
Well,
No, maybe not. Never mind.
Yet.
Never mind.
Still messing with them. Even though they are going to look towards the grubs for sure, they do have teleport advantage for 369 though. So Perfect is trying to walk his way over to lend support, but it is
Coverage good there. Hung able to get outside of the miasma, though not quite perfect setup. Cuz though has already started the objective. Crucially, they don't really have mid prio here. It's an even lane state. Because doesn't have vision. Doesn't anticipate them to be dropping a wave. True Shot Barrage is used. They're able to grab 2 grubs. Likely to be just happy with that, but Peter wants a little bit more. Flash out from Hung. Nice look for KT. Able to grab the Summoner spell as well as the 2 grubs, but TS firing back with a grub of their own.
Yeah, no miasma cooldown available there to follow it up. So Hung is able to get out with his flash and does live. Successful for KT, grabbing 2 of the grubs. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Perfect just stays close to 369. You know, nobody's going to fully overcommit and go up towards that top side. And Kanavi's only able to slip in time to grab 1 of the grubs. Meanwhile, we do get a fairly inconsequential interrupt on the recall.
Kanavi here to shadow, maybe hoping for an angle onto BDD, but you can already see some of the threat that KT's comp poses when they are able to group up. The power of the miasma plus the Trundle pillar really making it impossible for a lot of these more mobile champions to escape, if you can set it up perfectly. Of course, again, Perfect holding on to lane prio at the very least on the bottom side for now. 369 only continuing to stack armor, however.
Yeah, 369 stuck around, cleared out the extra wave, and again, okay, the teleports are going to be evened up very quickly, but he's going to use his bottom, and they're going for the swap here for KT. KT sending Perfect back to the top side. So that means 369's teleport down bottom side is going to get the early push on the wave, and it'll be answered instead by Cassio going bottom to collect. So they're going to position the Renekton into the lane here versus Rise, and that is Steel Caps on Renekton. Steel Caps Rush versus the Thornmail Rush for Cassante.
Thornmail still, in terms of the healing reduction, of course, not the armor, not the worst against Cassio. She does have a lot of sustain between the Roa and the Twin Fang.
Yeah, maybe don't auto-attack the Cassante.
Yeah, that's... Not the E? A single target?
Yeah.
But you can't help yourself sometimes, you know? You just gotta throw one out there. It's not enough for the Fangs. It's 369. Keeping an even lane state. Both teams seemingly content to set up for the objectives. 6 seconds till the next Drake. Won't have an Ocean Soul, won't have an Infernal, but TES with control. KT earlier on were able to grab the first Drake. We're going 1 for 1 this time around. Neither side going to be able to amass too much.
Oh, we are converging though. Peter's chasing.
Peter Wandering his way in. Drake is going to go down. Cannot be able to take that. Peter holding onto the ulti as long as possible. Heal coming out. Perfect flashing and immediate stun. Cleanse coming out from Jackie Love. Charm is there from Hung. Jackie Love now moving backward. You're going to be able to pull in the feathers, but Peter just refuses to go down. Hung waiting off to the side. Kanavi going in with the ulti. And in the meantime, it's a turn right back. BDD not quite able to land it, but the interrupt going to come through just in time. 369 dropping down. Cream able to make it out with the Realm Warp. And again, KT in the team fights are unmatched.
Did you see that focus? That was so clean, actually. Wait a second, we're not even quite done here. There's some pings coming out as Cream shouldn't be able to get anything done, but another really well-coordinated team fight from KT. They force everything out of Jackie so early. Perfect flashes in, and yeah, he does cleanse very quickly, but the pillar behind Jackie meant that Jackie had to also ult and use his flash. So even though they don't kill Jackie, they get everything out of him. So cleanse early, then the pillar behind him, and then as Hong comes through, Perfect able to gain the distance. There's the ultimate, and Peter gets the triple Q knockup into the headbutt back, and then they focus down Kanavi. They take down the Zed, not slippery enough, and KT, another beautifully executed team fight, focusing on these damage dealers, getting everything out of Jackie, pushing him out of the fight, then focusing on the Zed. The melee carry can't get away there, even with the shadows.
And it's got to be said, you look at a player like Kanavi on Zed, you know there's the potential to do a lot, but this is a difficult composition to execute against as the Zed. Reliable point-and-click stun of the Renekton. If you go in when he's in the area, he immediately gets to lock you down. Things like the Miasma, how slippery an Ezreal can be, how tanky a Cassio can be. This is not an easy game once we get out of the early stages to pull off these clutch Zed flanks, and so far KT have just been executing better. Pressure in mid now in favor of TES. KT with a slight gold lead, but we're approaching the next crucial objective, that Rift Herald. See who wants to prioritize it.
All right, like they're continuing their assignments here for the lanes at least. Cassio slow pushing on bottom side. Looks like we shouldn't have any, big explosion just yet. Docton, by the way, he's the only one with all of his summoners. Well, I guess spellbooks don't really count. Okay, spellbook.
Just keep going. No one noticed.
Spellbook players don't count. But this Ezreal is going to be so hard to kill. Aside from inherently being Ezreal with the Arcane Shift, with Flash and Barrier, is going to be hard even for a Zed comp here to try and put the pressure on. So we'll see. Maybe Hung is going to be able to get a good engage for them with the Rakan combination. Currently, though, looking bottom side.
Moving in. Hung immediately forced to Ghost. Kanavi there has already used the Living Shadow. TES pushing back. Random pull. I think Peter may be anticipating something there from Cream. TES, good coverage of the bottom side to make sure Cream was safe there around it. And it's important when you look at the items. Let me have to hold that thought for top side. The items are still incredibly close, right? So while it does feel like KT are in control, while it feels like KT are fighting better in terms of just the math of League of Legends, items, and members, there's not a massive deficit for TES. It's just a bit harder for them to execute.
Let's
Q3, 369. Looks like he's fishing for the all-out angle, but will hold on to that cooldown. And damn, alongside Peter, maybe ready to make a move here in mid lane.
They definitely want BDD again, though. Blue Trinket is going to see him, and BDD's out. They're going to make a counterplay.
TP, happy to sack bottom side. There's not even a way for them to play for. Now it's 369 who needs to get running. Cuz can just steal away all those resistances as well. Locked up, the pillar there too. BDD just running him down. 369 nowhere left to go. The Q3 not enough.
Is it cathartic how everybody, has just seen so much Cassante, and like he's coming at you, he wants to get an ult somewhere, and everyone's just kind of kiting him, keeping him at arm's length. You're slowed, you're on the Miasma.
It's the counterplay the balance team promised us.
Yeah.
But we infrequently see.
3v1 him. That's
3v1, just CC him. Got it, yes.
But that one was good. I mean, I really like that call. If they're going to make the bottom side play on you, BDD just teleports out. They go make the cross map play on the other side. They get a kill. Plus, they're going to still do the side lane tower trades. And Cuz is going to get +1 on the mid lane tower with his Rift Herald. So Cream does get the bottom tower, but BDD is going to get the top side one as well.
This is just such a good, comfortable position for KT to be in. Already breaking open the mid lane. Going to make it that much harder for Jackie Love to find these safe lanes to farm in. Perfect now completing that first item. Overall, KT doing all right. TES firing back where they can, making sure to keep the CS relatively close, but these little gold leads across every single role are just starting to grow in the favor of KT. Now, Archangel's completed, not quite the Seraph's Embrace, but once that ticks over for BDD, that is going to be a huge spike in the fight, and yet another reason why it's going to be so difficult for TES to find that clutch kill.
Yeah, can TS get a good angle here? They're trying to get some opportunities for Hung to sneak around and actually find the flank engage, but KT and Peter doing a good job. They go bully out, they take the vision. Dragon started up. I think, honestly, just keep 369 pushing top. Don't even teleport him down.
The controversial Arcane shift into the Zed move, probably a testament to how comfortable KT are feeling in this game, as it's Jackie Love who now might be in trouble. Headbutt pulverized comes out, Pillar ready to follow. Redemption coming down, Jackie Love getting a little bit more space. The Feather's ready to be pulled back, double root, but he'll still die in the end. Perfect TPing to the top side. KT might be playing for a little bit more here.
Jackie caught. Are the rest of them caught? At least some of them are.
Oh,
ooh,
okay. Nice. Kanavi's going to need to get tricky. Now goes back, wants to ult onto Doc Dam. Is going to spin a little bit, needs to get to the blast cone in time. I don't think there's any way he's going to be able to grab the kill. The Pillar sends him sky high. Peter in the end going to knock him down.
So at the very least during that game of hide and seek, Cream is split pushing. So still kind of focused here on TES on getting some cross maps, some gold. He can't quite finish out the tower though on that last wave.
And I gotta say, I was expecting this to be maybe even a dominant series for TES after the first game. Close, as I expected TES to come back. But KT have just been a step ahead the entire time. TES, of course, doing their diligence. They're good enough on the map to make these response plays, but it is always KT trading up. And the opportunities, the angles of attack are just getting smaller and smaller, especially as Hung is learning firsthand. Wandering into KT's jungle might just be a death sentence. That's the quickness burned. We're only a minute before the Otacon.
That makes, I mean, I feel like it gets so hard here for TES now. No Rakan ultimate either to even try and threaten a pick play with. So, I mean, I guess it would have to be like a trailing split push play where you like trail your Rise with a Zed or something, try and make a quick assassination attempt, or maybe they get some fancy Realm Warp play, but barring something like that, I feel like KT can methodically move in, take their vision. They're taking red buff right now. Pings are coming down from TS to contest, though.
TS, Kanavi in the area. They want to at least fight for this. We'll just be forced to lose it. 369 doesn't want to push too far on the top side. Obviously, Otacon on the bottom side means overstaying could cost him. But TES really just haven't been first to set up on these objectives, and KT with this Ezreal really have the range advantage. It's so hard for TES to approach. Kanavi caught out. Beautiful layering. Kanavi forced back. That's the Living Shadow. Redemption now coming down, holding on for an extra second. Peter getting low. The Unbreakable Will about to fade away. Jackie Love still here, but it's perfect on the flank. The cleanse being forced out from Jackie. Perfect dashing back with the dice. Jackie Love continues to auto-attack. In the meantime, the combo! It comes in. Cuz getting the kill onto Cream. Perfect zoning off single-handedly the TES bottom lane. It's just feeling like death by 1,000 cuts as KT turn their attention to the Otacon.
BDD with the petrifying gaze. Hits the stun. Cream down, and Otacon soon to follow.
Jackie has flash, but BDD terrifying. That 2-item spike for Cassio is massive. Hung does not, has spellbook, but doesn't have smite. No reason to walk forward there, but wants to spot it. Will know that it's going down, and again, the advantages for KT only continue to stack further and further in their favor, and this time around the counterplay is it's 369 instead of Cream, but it's the same thing we've seen all game, these desperate tower pushes just to get something back.
Yeah, and they're, in both cases, they're not able to finish them off, so they don't even like get some sort of gold, you know, cash in or payoff. It is just KT once again, reset after the play. They got everything they came for. They took the bottom side, and now, Kanavi at least, oh, did he even get any?
Didn't look like it.
Cuz able to smite there, just annihilating everything.
Do you know what the awkward thing about KT games is, Kobe?
The awkward thing?
Yeah, because you can't tell when fans aren't cheering if it's because they're really big KT fans or if they're not KT fans.
Yeah, is it quiet because okay, wait a second.
Because they don't want to believe, but I'm starting to believe because Kanavi looking good as dead. The body block's coming in, the feathers are flying. Kanavi just barely able to make it out. Peter locked up, the feathers coming through. The Will looking breakable. Is the shutdown finally there? A glimmer of hope for TES.
Top play as well. Teleport up here for a 2v1 on Perfect.
Perfect, quick stun. Cream now coming around the wall. Cuz trying to collapse on Jackie Love in the meantime. It's a split play across 2 fronts. Jackie Love caught out. Realm Warp to get them a little bit closer to Perfect. Jackie Love holding on nicely. They don't really have an angle of attack there. Dominus coming out for Perfect in the meantime. One dash going through. Knocked back by 369, but he manages to make it over the wall. Hung now chasing. Flash forward. The stun to interrupt, but it's not enough to stop the knockup. It's a shutdown for Cream. TES grab another.
TES invest heavily in trying to take down Perfect on the top side, and they are successful in taking him down, but it was a pretty heavy investment. See if that money...
TP?
Arrival on...
Right on top of BDD.
Okay.
He's in, he's out.
That's a hard champ to catch.
Very true.
All right, so as we progress into the 1-3-1, the Dragon being available at the moment, TES, yeah, they are, KT are showing Ezreal top, but I think it's still fine to force here. Perfect comes up with teleport in 1 second.
And you saw in the previous fight, if somehow TES can get KT to fight into a choke, Jackie Love does do a lot of damage, even on 1.5 items, but they're just really not in a good spot here. Kanavi laying down the shadow, but immediately forced out of the pit. Good discipline from the side of KT to not give him that angle.
Yep, chased out, and soul point for KT. They can continue to force TES to come to them. Cream was unable to get much damage on this top tower. He didn't have teleport, so he couldn't join either. And now that's a 3-item Cassio that you're looking at, with Cosmic Drive also done, extra speed.
If you enjoyed seeing a Cassio Kaita Kasante without the extra speed, let me tell you, it's only going to get better here, although 369 at least is finally building a little bit of MR. Of course, still heavily a physical damage composition from KT, so it makes sense that he would delay a bit. Peter, I'm going to step forward, alting the quickness now there. Miasma to block a bit more as Kanavi's forced back solo by Peter, but BDD's just on the chase. Kanavi zoned away, excellent pillar to isolate Cream. Twin Fangs coming out, that's the ulti. Cream able to sidestep. BDD getting a little bit lower, but the Redemption keeping him topped up, and now he's just running Cream down. KT, effortless collapse on the top side. Kanavi trying to get tricky. Good sidestep to get away from the Mystic Shot, will be able to escape.
KT are honestly just dominating them, running them down here, and they can push in on this secondary tower. There is split push going on, so they will get 1 tower in payment this time around.
But now the setup on the top side, we're 38 seconds from that Baron spawning. There is a Cassio on this KT lineup. They will delete this objective if they're given even 30 seconds. They're not, right now with the death timers on Cream, they've already got 15. KT might just settle for this tier 2, however. The position they're in, it doesn't really demand that they force an objective. They're very calmly advancing through this game.
Yeah, they certainly are. Really well controlled from KT. As you mentioned, they have Cassio, so they can put so much pressure on these objectives. And Cloud Soul is massive for this type of team. Trundle, turbo sped up with Cloud Soul, super crazy. Cassio already with a Cosmic Drive and Cloud Soul, gonna be insane here. BDD, at least for TS's side, BDD used his flash offensively, and so they can kind of cope and be like, all right, well, there's no flash on Cassio. Maybe we can actually kill the Cassio. Is that possible?
All I'm saying is, it is concerning when you're playing Zed jungle and you look at the enemy mid laner and they didn't build as Zanyas. They're not even scared. There's not even an item or component leading towards the Seekers. That is how unconcerned BDD is about the threat on him.
Or something next, but they're just going to burn this thing down.
Kanavi, 10K on the objective, have to keep eyes on Kanavi. He's the one that can make the steal happen. Immediate start to the fight is looking good as Cream is caught out. Redemption to hit him topped up, but most of TES is going to be splitting off. Peter going to use the Mikhails on himself to survive a little bit longer. In goes 369, trying to find the isolated target, but for now BDD is untouched. The feathers fly as Jackie Love goes up and comes right back down. Triple kill for Dockdown, and the isolated 1v1. 369 only find a brief moments for an honorable duel as KT cut him to pieces.
Quadra kill for Dockdown this time around, and KT are staring straight at a 3-0 through Swiss.
Incredible stuff from this lineup. So composed in these mid to late game scenarios. TES so often dominant in the early game, so often clutch in the team fights, but we are seeing none of that in the face of KT.
Are KT going to be the first team to group stage, Dracos? Is that the world we are living in?
It must be. Lore must really have doubted them. It's really all come together.
All right, well, let's take a look at the approach. Cassante teleported to mid-tower, so he's very far away. So TS are starting this 4v5, and so they engage from KT towards Cream, chunks him out and puts so much pressure. Even though Peter does go down, we get a huge petrifying gauge over the rest of them. Cream was already focused, Cream was already burned down, and then BDD came up with the petrifying gaze on everybody else, making it easy for KT to clean up.
And again, that's kind of the choke point you'd normally want to fight in as the Xayah, but BDD is just so far ahead. Doing so much work with the Miasma, with the petrifying gaze as KT set their sights on the bottom side of the map. This Red Bull Baron power play likely to break open the base of TES, but TES commit to the 1-3-1. In this case, it'll be a 4-1 as Cream still solo pushing that top side, wants the additional gold, wants that bounty. However, it's just so hard for them to defend the range of the Ezreal, the all-in threat. Cream returning means they might have an angle of attack. Heal comes out from Peter. Headbutt pull only onto 369. In the meantime, Perfect getting things off. Perfect getting lower, or Peter, excuse me, getting lower as Doctem continues to rain Mystic shots from the sidelines, and KT content to just take 2 inhibs. With the Realm Warp.
Yeah, that would be a dangerous one.
Not going to be something they take, so KT happy for that. Soul, of course, next. Reset comes in from BDD. He's immediately going to teleport to the bottom lane. If TES overcommit to face check here, it could kill them, but they already have the vision set up crucially, so they know when this is being started. Sweeper's now going to get used. TES, see, they have a potential angle of attack, but walking through the choke against BDD is terrifying. The Miasma to stop the follow-up. 4K getting lower. Kanavi needs to move in, but the stun, Perfect ready with it to try to take it away. 3K, eyes on the objective, eyes on the soul. KT holding on to the fight in the meantime. Doctem and BDD for now untouched. The dragon ignored. It's no longer important. Cuz keeping things going. Cuz versus 369 in the pit. It does not matter. Jackula flashing back. Feathers ready to pull back, but the damage is not there. BDD is just stronger. The soul is theirs. The series is theirs. KT dominance in this 2-0 matchup.
Welcome to the group stage. KT gonna get through unless Cream and Kanavi literally can have a miracle happen right now.
KT pushing in, BDD flash forward, Perfect dashing through to give us, okay, that wasn't it. But at the end of the day,
no miracle.
It still works out. KT, I don't know if you believed or didn't believe, but either way, KT fans, it worked. KT moving on to knockouts, moving on to the bracket stage.
Making